This is kind of a short follow-up to a previous video I made called These People Are Ruining Video Games. Insert what do you mean you people with Robert Downey Jr. from Tropic Thunder here, but it was kind of brought to my attention from things like Marvel Rivals, and it wasn't the only game I was talking about, but I was talking about the people who micromanage gameplay, who freak out at very small things, who get in the text chat to absolutely lose their shit at you. You know, basically people who make games not enjoyable anymore. And even on the competitive side, I would argue make it so that other players don't grow. You know, something I point out too, I don't remember if I mentioned this verbatim in that video, is like, if you're doing bad, even if you're in competitive, and someone tells you to keep yourself safe, you know, that's not going to encourage you to improve as a player anyway, right? Like, that's not going to encourage you to get better as a Doctor Strange player. That's just going to make you rage. Or if you're a healer and somebody gets on your case, it's probably not going to make you play better. It's going to make you retaliate or just not care. My cats are fighting in the background for no reason. Now, here's the thing. This goes further than just Marvel Rivals, and that's why at the time I talked about it with like other games. You know, it's just kind of a problem with multiplayer games in general. But one thing I was shocked about with that video was you'll always get the people who I think are kind of losers who say like, oh, well, you're just soft. You obviously get people like that. And something I said that I do truly stand by was I think a lot of people back years ago were just so dumb that they didn't think the things that they said had power. They were just trolling you. You know what I mean? They were just being dicks. And that's something I kind of stand by, is like they would use harsher language, but I truly think that a lot of them didn't actually put any meaning behind it. They were just jerks. Nowadays, it feels like it's like a personal thing. It feels like people are very angry and it bleeds over into this type of game. And I was shocked at how many people agreed with that video, how many people detailed their own experiences with this game in particular, with Marvel Rivals, and also how it seems to be actually ruining the community of the game. So I wanted to take a few minutes to look at that today, and I know some people are going to already say, okay, the same talking points as last time, and some people are going to say things like, oh, well, who cares about the community of the game? I just play the game, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is that if you absolutely ruin the community of your game by everybody in that community being a piece of shit, you don't have a game anymore, because you don't actually have a player base, because people don't bother playing your game. And that's actually something I think is happening as numbers have fallen off quite a bit over time for this game. So I do have a question of the day for you, though, which I actually asked previously, but now I'm going to change it. I'm going to change the question, and I think it'll invite some hopefully friendly debate in the comments. What game do you think has the worst community around it? Like, what video game series do you think has the worst community around it, and why? It can be single player, multiplayer, whatever. Maybe it's even a single player game that, is very lazy as a series and people defend it and enable it. I can think of a couple right there like that. Or maybe it's against other players, but I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. And I do want to mention a couple of comments that I read that were just really funny too in this video that actually highlighted the point I was talking about. So I probably will miss a lot of comments, but just a couple that I saw. There was one from this person named Melon Mix who basically said, I just had this interaction in Rivals text chat yesterday. You'll never be good at the game. Being good isn't what's important. Having fun is. Sounds like you lose 24/7. And I feel that perfectly shows off how some people think in this game. Now, this was a newer one at the time, so I don't think that many people saw it because the video's been out for about 3 weeks. But there were other comments too, and a lot of the ones that were like shitting on the Marvel Rivals community were the top voted comments on the video, which I was really shocked at. I thought there was going to be a lot more like, no, the game is good. You're only getting people being mean to you because you're bad. I actually don't claim to be the best at this game at all. The older I get, the harder it is to aim. That's something you'll find, as you, encroach over 30 years old and you start playing games online with teenagers, is that it might not affect your daily life, but you will have reaction time differences, things like that. So I'm not going to pretend I'm the best at the game, but some of these comments are really funny to me. Like this one from I think it's Ariana Adonis, which says the game gets worse the better you get, is their exact feeling at it. There have been a few other comments as well regarding toxic players, like saying, from Mecca, kind of saying one of the ones that I said, that basically a lot of the people who are toxic seem like they have nothing going for them, like no hobbies or genuine friendships. Essentially, they're not doing anything productive, so they're crashing out over something very small because to them it's their whole world. I think that was a really good point too. And a point from another comment was basically talking about how society in general, I think especially in the West right now, is just very unhappy, and that bleeds into the online gaming world. So basically people are squeezed by all these different issues, essentially, and then it hits this point where people get into video games and they're already angry. The mood carries over. And I was interested to, read a lot of these comments. Like, most of these are just people who have had bad experience with this game. One I read was Lion and the Pride saying, because of people micromanaging my gameplay and yelling at me, I turned off voice and text chat, and I have no intention of ever turning it back on. So there are a ton of comments like this. Like, all of the top ones are just, man, this sucks right now. Like, it's actually crazy. Like, every single top comment is basically like in agreement on this, that the Marvel Rivals community just sucks and it's driving people away from it. And, I would say, oh, well, maybe some people just found my video that are disenfranchised with the game and they're mad. And maybe it's just a small vocal minority. But you look at, there has been a genuine drop-off in players over time. Some of that can be expected because of things like, it being an online game. You obviously see this, especially like there's a huge turnaround on like fighting games. It's like they have a shelf life, and there will be classics people go back to, like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and stuff. But in general, like there's a huge drop off with players, and that can be common. But I think you look at other games like Overwatch and stuff where they've been through controversy after controversy and still managed to rake in just insane player numbers. And you kind of have to ask yourself, why is this already happening to Marvel Rivals? And I have already seen, multiple streamers and influencers and people like that who, not that their opinion matters more than yours or mine or anyone's, but who are like abandoning the game, some of them citing just the community being awful. And when I look at that, and I look at the fact that those are loud mouthpieces that, thousands of people do listen to, it's not a good sign for the game. The problem is, I don't really know what the solution is, and I'm not saying Marvel Rivals is going to die. I don't think it is going to die. But I do think that the first few weeks of this game, it felt like there was more fun, like to be had around the people in it. It felt like you could make friends in the game if you wanted to. It felt like people would play characters not just because they found some kind of weird DPS exploit, but because they actually loved a character or they enjoyed how that character played. It felt like competitive. I didn't play Season 0, but I played a lot of Season 1, and it felt like the matchmaking was better. It felt like people were more willing to work as a team. People were more willing to play roles, like actually play a role. And when I say play a role, I mean like actually play to the strengths of a character and of a team and get along with their team and be encouraging. Like, that was a big thing I noticed Season 1 to Season 2 is like, that attitude heavily shift towards the negative. And I don't know. I don't read many positive player posts about this game anymore. I read posts complaining about balancing. I read posts complaining about other players. I read posts complaining about not including certain things from the comics from like the, the hardcore nerdy boys like me. Like, I'm not actually seeing a lot of positivity around the game. And I think that's just kind of sad. I know it's like a different question. I already asked a question of the day, but this is kind of where I want to know from you, like, do you think that there's a way to fix these kinds of things? Or do you think that it's just an example of online gaming? Because I was very shocked with Marvel Rivals in particular, because, I know the meme of like, your favorite fictional character would hate you. I know a lot of people don't take it seriously. But for me growing up, like when I read Batman comics and the message was to be better, like, or to rise above hatred or things like that, that's kind of what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? Like, those influenced me in a positive way. When I would read Spider-Man comics and it was like overcoming impossible odds, it's like, okay, well, I want to be like Spider-Man. And so it's crazy to me to like see too that it feels like there's a disconnect between the type of media this is with these heroic characters and inspiration and how you treat others and all this different stuff. There's a huge disconnect between how people actually play the game. It's almost like they do the meme of Magneto from Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, where the one developer was saying, oh, people don't care about Magneto, they just cared about the function that he provided. Like, they just cared about how he played in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, so it's okay he's not here. Like, basically, almost people are playing the game not as a superhero game or anything like that. It's like they're not actually getting anything out of it in that way. They're not seeing Captain America and feeling any kind of positivity or any kind of inspiration or the need to be like a moral person in any way. It's like they see Captain America and they feel the need to crush your throat if you don't go 25-0 and somehow heal them, even if you're playing as the Hulk and can't do that. Like, they're just gonna lose their shit. And it's interesting to me because, like, those characters, like, one of the things that actually got me to play Marvel Rivals was the characters, was seeing those characters and what they mean to me and what they mean to other people. And, I don't know, I think maybe that's not a thing for people anymore. So I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on what you think the solution is, because it's like, even the material, it's like people are either so angry or so divorced from it going in that it doesn't even positively impact them or remind them to not be an ass. And that's kind of really what's incredible to me, is I can't even think of a solution. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to change the human experience? Are you gonna, change people's hearts and minds? Like, if they drag that stuff into the game and they're just ready to flip, I don't really know what you can do about that. They're just miserable and they're gonna make sure you are too. And it's hitting the point where there is no communication in this team-based game anymore because people are turning off chat and they're turning off the voice chat as well, and they're turning off the ability to DM them on like Xbox or PlayStation or whatever. Like, they're just going into a void, a silent void, because everybody's made it so miserable that you might as well just put in some earplugs and drown them out. That's sad. That's not a community. That's like the pit. That's like the prison that Bruce Wayne got thrown into in The Dark Knight Rises. Like, nobody wants to be that, in that. Nobody wants to be stuck in Arkham Asylum when they're dealing with their player base. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, you want to leave a like, subscribe. I appreciate you very, very much. I hope you will all have a fantastic day. If you want to support this channel, you can use Fortnite code DJAY123. Also, as well, you can check out our other channels in the description. We've been playing Marvel Rivals over on Degenerate Plays, which is our Let's Play channel, which we do podcast style. My wife and I have been playing it over there. Also, as well, we do have our own store, CosmoBunny.shop. What we do over there is we take manga, magazines, and comic books and more that are damaged, and we turn them into new pieces of art transformatively for your home. So we recycle this paper, we turn it into new pieces of art, and we actually, make something transformative out of it. So these are coasters, keychains, trays, and more. Very awesome stuff. You can use discount code DJAY123 for 10% off your first purchase. And of course, as well, my wife also makes handmade resin jewelry over there. So we're talking things like hand-painted, earrings, and there's bracelets. There's all kinds of amazing, fantastic stuff. So I hope you will check that out. Have a fantastic day. And as always, everyone, stay shui.